In the day's other news, authorities in Kenosha, Wisconsin defended their actions during protests over the shooting of Jacob Blake by police. On Tuesday night, officers were seen thanking civilians who carried long guns. One appeared to be Kyle Rittenhouse, a white teenager who said he was protecting businesses and who allegedly killed two people. The Kenosha sheriff said today that he did not want civilians involved.
The situation escalated Tuesday night because a 17-year-old boy carrying what appears to be an assault rifle, who has no idea how to handle a situation like this. I don't care if he had the right intentions or not. Two people are currently dead, and one almost had his arm blown off.
Protest in Kenosha went off peacefully overnight. Protest also took place in Los Angeles and Sacramento, with reports of scattered vandalism. The National Basketball Association has announced an agreement for playoff games to resume tomorrow. Players had refused to take part in games this week after the Jacob Blake killing. Now the league has agreed to create a social justice council and to turn its arenas into polling places for the November election. On the pandemic, California's Governor Gavin Newsom unveiled a new framework today for gradually reopening businesses. Each county will move through a four-tiered color-coded system based on numbers of cases and percentage of positive tests. Infections had spiked in July after the state initially eased closings.
We're going to be more stubborn this time and have a mandatory wait time between moves. We didn't do that last time, and that is a significant distinction between what we've learned from the past and what we now are advancing in this more stringent, but we believe more steady approach.
Separately, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration's chief spokeswoman and an outside consultant have been fired. The New York Times reports that it happened after President Trump and FDA Commissioner Stephen Hahn exaggerated the benefits of treating COVID-19 with blood plasma. Hahn later apologized. In Japan, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe announced today that he is resigning because of a chronic health problem. He has held the post longer than anyone, including a grandfather and great-uncle who were also prime ministers. Our foreign affairs correspondent Nick Schifrin reports.
Shinzo Abe and his family are political veterans, but one of his lasting legacies may be an alliance with a political novice.
I grabbed him and hugged him because that's the way we feel.
Donald, President, you are excellent businessman. You have fought the uphill struggle, and this is the dynamism of democracy.
He flattered President Trump, and he understood President Trump's personality.
Mike Mochizuki is the U.S.-Japan chair at George Washington University. He says the Abe-Trump bromance, forged over sumo wrestling, golf selfies, and awkward handshakes, strengthened the bilateral relationship to confront China and North Korea and outlast Trump.
Prime Minister Abe understood the strategic situation. Without a strong U.S.-Japan relationship, Japan would not then have the autonomy and freedom to pursue its own interests in Asia.
Top of the list, a revitalized military. Abe's Japan purchased more U.S. weaponry. He failed to revise the country's pacifist constitution, but pushed through changes that allow Japanese forces to fight in a crisis.
This opened the way for Japan to cooperate with other countries, especially the United States, on a variety of common defense missions.
Economically, Abenomics lowered interest rates, increased spending, and pulled the economy out of deflation, but it achieved only modest success. He did manage to end political instability and a rotating door of leaders.
Just to be able to stay in office this long and to stabilize foreign policy and chip away at some of the economic challenges, that in itself, I think, is a lasting achievement.
Abe leaves his successor with major structural economic concerns exacerbated by COVID. And today, in a final press conference, an emotional Abe said it broke his heart to leave the job half done. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Nick Schifrin.
And a correction in our story just moments ago. I referred to Jacob Blake being killed. That is wrong. Jacob Blake was shot and he is recovering in the hospital. The U.S. House Foreign Affairs Committee will start contempt proceedings against Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Today's announcement comes after Pompeo defied a subpoena in a probe of whether he has used the State Department for partisan ends. The department says the allegations are baseless. In economic news, MGM Resorts is laying off 18,000 workers, about a quarter of its U.S. workforce. The company today blamed pandemic losses. And on Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 161 points to close near 28,654. That means it is now back in the black for the year. The Nasdaq rose 70 points to a new record close, and the S&P 500 added 23, and that makes it also in record territory.
This is the PBS NewsHour from WETA Studios in Washington and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.